In a completely dark room with only the glow coming from our screen, we can be seen, but it is a very blurry image. Whatever is on your monitor is going to affect the way that it looks. So if you switch from something white on screen to a darker colour, then this is going to be replicated on your face. So basically, use a light with this webcam. With natural light coming in through the window, and I'm so exposed down the one side of my face that I thought I morphed into Casper the Friendly Ghost. The background looks very soft too, not that subtle blur kind of look, it just doesn't look great. We can go into our OBS settings and manually configure the exposure, with -4 being the highest we can go. Anything lower and it gives us a dark unusable image. This does help, although it's still a little too dark, but it does bring a lot more choppiness to the movement compared to when we have the auto exposure enabled. This is a 2K webcam and it is capable of 30 frames per second, and as long as you've got ample lighting on yourself, then you will hit those frame rates. If you use software like OBS, then you can knock this resolution down to 1080p and this will give you 60 frames per second, and this is going to make the movement look a lot more fluent, but there is going to be a slight decrease in the image quality. Using a couple of ring lights in front of us, and the overexposure is insane on this. Just look how white our face is. I tried turning down the intensity of the lights, and whilst it did help a little, we still look really white. And the image suddenly went blurry when I turned the intensity of the lights down, and when we turned the intensity back up, it took a few seconds for the autofocus to kick back in. The better option here is to use the manual exposure in OBS, and this did look better, but the movement definitely got choppier once again. When we switched on our backlight, we still had overexposure on our face, maybe not as bad as we did when we didn't have the backlights on, but it's still very noticeable. Once again, this can be amended by moving the exposure slider in OBS, but even with all that light available, it's still looking very choppy when manually exposed. This is an autofocus lens, which sometimes grabs the focus after a second or two, and other times it takes much longer for it to adjust itself. More often than not, it does pick that focus up fairly quickly, but on the occasions that it doesn't grab it, then there is quite a delay before it brings that object into focus. Removing a green screen in OBS performed okay, with it removing the majority of it, but we do experience a lot of pixelation at the bottom. A lot of this is to do with how my lights and green screen is set up, but it should remove the majority of that green for you. This is a microphone test of the Ugreen 2K webcam. This is the kind of audio you can expect from the inbuilt microphone.